Okay, let's get started how to create a project plan. So the next step would be to add another task over here and give a name. So the second task could be creating the project team, or basically identifying the project team, and this would be the job of the project manager. So you can select the project manager name, and also you can mention if it has a dependency. So either you put the dependency ID of the previous dependent task, which is number 2, or if you do that, it will identify which one is the dependent item. And also here either you can enter the number of days it would take. So if the project manager says, okay, I will take 2 days, it will enter the start and the end date. Also, in order to make sure that we have a proper dependency with the stages, use the stage dependency as the first task, so that the beginning of the task will be the beginning of your project start. So here you can see that this is starting after a day, and you can also see the dependency. Usually it is finish to start, and you can see the dependency here, dependency type. So if I put start to start, both tasks will start at the same time. So you can see that it starts on the same time. Now you can also put the dependency over here, that okay, I can start the same task at the same time. Then you see this one will shift towards the left. Or you can check different dependency types. You can, if you want to do finish by finish to finish, then it will finish on the same time as the previous task. Similarly, start to finish, it will start before, it will finish before the previous activity starts. Similarly, start to start, that means both the activities will start on the same time frame. So that's how all the 4 dependencies you can see in this Excel Gantt chart generator. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So the third one would be, suppose, a milestone which says, okay, I have achieved my project plan. So you can mention here project plan completed. Okay, so once you enter the milestone and assign the project team member, you can either put a dependency as the previous ID for the previous task, or you can just put the start date or end date. So based on that, you can see a dot is showing up as a milestone. So there are a couple of things I'll show you, but before that, let me quickly build another segment or another stage. So this stage is the new stage, so maybe just call it as a project initiation. And here you may have different tasks like scheduling a kickoff, and you can also add a few other tasks like generating project charter, and maybe some of the tasks which may not be required by the project manager. So that could be something like generating the business requirements. So suppose these are the different tasks, and you can put a milestone that project initiated. So based on this, suppose kickoff meeting is the job of the PM, so I'll select the PM. And the project charter, suppose we have somebody else who needs to take care of that. And generating business requirement also, suppose I have Oscar, or let's keep somebody else, let's keep Nick. And then for project initiation, this is the milestone, so you don't have to have a person assigned, but you can, it will not stop you. Also, if you want this project initiation to be dependent on the previous activities, you can select the dependence ID. So you can either select equal to and select the previous milestone, so that the next task will start from the completion of the previous task. So you can see that the color for this whole stage has changed, and now you can see that it has by default assumed that it's for 1 day. But it can be for more than one, and here also you can put for the stage, you can give the either the start date or the dependency. So it's better to give the dependency of the previous milestone completion if that is the case. So it will automatically pick the start and end date. Here one thing you might have noticed, that the start and end date for this guy remains the same. So here either we can use a formula to calculate the end date, or here or you can basically have the max of the dates over here, or you can manually override it so that your stage basically covers everything underneath it. So suppose in this case you have the project team, it takes more than 2 days, you can put like 4 days, so it shows up 4 days, but here the date will be 11th, the maximum date will be 11th. So here I can give you a formula which you can put here, or you can manually enter as 11th, because you never know. I cannot make it dynamic, because you may have 5 or 6 or 10 elements beneath that stage. So in this case you have to either take the max of all the dates in that range, or you can manually put here as 11th of Feb. So now just to show you that this is now not dependent on this. So basically if you want to make it dependent on the previous one, you just select the proper dependency, or in this case it is 2 days, but here you see that there is a lag. So if you remove the lag for 2 days, it will shift 2 days later. Oh sorry, it was workday, not the lag. So I removed the I can add the workday, or this is basically a okay. So the dependency was not finished to start, it was start to finish, that's why it was coming before. So if you change the dependency from, suppose finish, default is finished to start, that means the next activity will start after the previous activity has finished, or the dependent activity has finished. You can have start to start, where both the activities will start at the same time, the dependent and the independent. Similarly, you can have finish to finish, that means both will finish at the same time. So these two activities are finishing on the same date. Also you can have start to finish, that means this one will start before the previous one, this one will finish before the previous one starts. So the most common is finish to start dependency. So let's put that, and here you see that this column is colored, that means this day is a holiday, and you can set it up over here as the list of holidays. So you can keep on adding the dates, and that will show up on the Gantt as a hashed, so that visually you can see that it's a holiday, and you may add a lag or something. So if I add a lag of 1 day here, then it will move the milestone to 1 day later. So you can see that now the milestone has moved to Tuesday, and similarly the other dependent stage and other dependent activities and tasks got moved all together. So similarly you can keep on building this project plan. So I wanted to show a couple of more things. So either you can start based on the independent start date, or give a dependency, or you can also start on an independent finish date. So in this case, suppose there was no dependency here, and you want to give an independent end date. So suppose this is like 15th of or 14th of Feb. If I put this date, you see that there is no dependency, and it has considered just one day, start and end. And if you put a number of days of like 4 days or something, it will create the task for that many days. But since it has no dependency, it has assumed that it's a backward scheduled, because it's the independent end date. Instead of giving a start date, we have given an end date. So this is how it works. So I think most of the time you would preferably give a independent start date, or you can give a dependency. So that's the way you will be building your Gantt chart. Also, there are certain other things where I wanted to show you here. There are certain areas where you can select different color codes. So right now it's in the product structure or project structure, where each segment or each section or each stage has a different color. So right now we have got 2 stages. If I add a 3rd stage, then probably it will have a different color. You see that? So each stages are differentiated by different colors. But if you want to see based on default, so default there is no color, it will be all gray. So you can see everything is in gray color, right? So the stage will be dark gray and the tasks will be light gray, and milestones will also be light gray. Okay, we'll see why it is not showing, but most likely it will be light gray color. Similarly, if you see the team roles, based on the team's roles, the color will change. So right now I have got 3 different people. So we have based on the Oscar. Okay, let's change this one to Andrew and see the color should change. You see that color of Andrew is pink. Maybe James, if I change the color, it will change. So you can have colors by roles. You can have visualization by project structure, and also there's one more thing where if one activity has an issue, you can select from the drop down this icon. So if you want to see which all activities have issues, you can directly see through the drop down, and you can see the issues. It will show in the red color. So that's how you can see that only this activity is showing in red. So if you want to report the project and highlight the issues, you can use this drop down. Alright, so let's go back to the project structure. Now if you want to see if your project plan is not on a daily basis, it's on a weekly schedule, you can select the weekly from here, buckets. So it will show up in a weekly bucket. Now since we have very limited time frame, so that's why it's not showing enough. But if you select like 20 days or 15 days, something like that, then in that case it will show a bigger range. Similarly, you can do it on a monthly. So it will show for each month, and then this text will show whether it's Feb, March, April. And similarly, you can scroll from here to go back and forth. So let's go back to daily, and you see this column, it shows the current date. So it basically highlights today, but if you want to highlight a certain date in future, you can do that. Like if I want to highlight 15th of Feb, it will go and highlight this date, right? And you see the line passing through. So it gives you a proper visualization of where do you stand on a particular time frame. There are other things you can display based on plan or plan versus base. This is something it will happen if you want to save your project plan and define your base plan and keep the dates over here. Then it will show you the Gantt based on what it was in the base plan and how it looks like in the actual plan right now. But I don't want to cover it right now, otherwise it will be too big of a video. So you can see you can also collapse it. If you don't want to see all the details, you can collapse this, and you can only see the start date and the end dates and whatever relevant information you need. So that's how you can utilize this Gantt chart for building your project plan and tracking your project. And also at the end of the day, if you want to just see for a particular role, particular member, particular So suppose I want to see only for the PM role what activities do I have. You can see over here. Similarly, you can do for all kind of filtering based on the start date, end date, member, role, project stages. So if you want to see the summary, you just go and check the stages and just see where are your different stages, where do they stand. So you can see in one view, you don't have to see all the details. So this is the way this Excel sheet has been built. I have put some instructions also on how to get started, but at the same time I have got setup page also where you can add your name of the employees or the project members as well as their roles, as well as the holiday calendar. Right now we have only weekend option of Saturday and Sunday. Maybe later on in future I'll give opportunities to set your own weekends based on this setting, but right now it's just Saturday and Sunday. Alright, thank you for watching, and if you have any question you can put in the comments or you can email me. I hope this is going to help you in making your project plan and showing it to your management so that you can get best out of it. And also here you can see that it automatically generates the project plan time span based on the start and the end dates, and it gives you the number of dates the project will be valid. And here you see the selection, the color coding that shows that your plan is valid till this time frame only. So that way you have a lot of visuals for managing your project in this Excel. I believe once you have this, you probably don't need any other project management tool to manage your project. It's show weekend. So if you want to show the Saturdays, Sundays also, you can just select as yes, it will show the weekend. If you don't want to see, just make it no. Also, one more thing we have not mentioned before is the progress. So suppose you have made 50% progress in this task and the other task also like 20% or 25%. So if you mention the task progress, it will cover it with the blue color. And there is a formula to put for the shading of your main task, which is the stage. So in this case, suppose the stage end date is Feb 15th. So if I take the same date as the max date, then it should basically cover the whole project duration for that particular section or for that particular stage. So in this case also you can either mention it manually, or there is a formula I can give you or I can provide under the setup screen which formula to use to show up appropriately based on the completion of your individual tasks. Your stage percentage completion will be calculated and it will be displayed accordingly. Yes or no. So if you switch it to no, it will not show the progress, but if you make it yes, it will show the progress. So in this case, if I want to make it as one thing I wanted to show you is about the milestone. If you make it 100%, you see that the milestone will change to flag. That means you have reached that milestone. So that is also cool, and it does change for each and every milestone that you create going forward. So suppose this one is a milestone, see the flag for that color. If it is completed, it will show up in blue color. So whatever activities you have completed, that percentage will get shaded. So just or I believe 50%, yeah, because it's only two rows, two columns. But if I make it 75%, it will not cover everything. But if I make 100%, it will cover everything. That means it will be done. So that way you can see and you can visualize the progress of each and every task as well as the stages. So that's how it's going to look. You can see that. So yeah, if there is any question, let me know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.